If it's watch sold in Austria, wouldn't the taxes have had to have been paid in Austria?
I don't even think the watch was sold yet.
That's what I'm saying.
So I'm just confused on why they stopped him in the first place.
I have truly no idea. To me, it smells like there was a rat. What is up, Watch Fam? I am Christian, the curator of the Theo and Harris Vintage Watch Shop.
My name is Sam.
And this story is ridiculous. Arnold Schwarzenegger, one of the most important watch ambassadors of the last 30 years, was detained in Germany, in the Munich airport for bringing in wearing an Audemars Piguet watch that, he had planned to auction just days later in Austria for charity. This is an insane story. This seems like gross government overreach. It seems like a shakedown. I'm interested in learning more and discussing this, but on the surface, it seems insane. So today we'll be talking about exactly what happened. We'll be talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger's role in the popularization of Audemars Piguet. And we'll be talking about, I guess, traveling with watches as just a general conversation, and not just tax reasons, but the other fears one might have. So today's a good but quick episode. I hope you enjoy. Arnold Schwarzenegger was arrested, or detained, but it still pretty much sucks when you're at an airport and the Customs and Border Patrol pulls you over and tells you owe them a large sum of money for not declaring something.
Have you ever been stopped by Customs before? I'm just curious.
Not so much anymore because I have global entry and stuff like that. So it's like I don't know what that means. I guess you're pre-vetted or whatever. But I think this whole story is just kind of bizarre. I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger was flying through Munich, right, to get to Austria and auction off the watch, right, which is true because it was in basically the auction. It was in the auction catalog, and would ultimately have owed taxes in Austria, right? If it's watch sold in Austria, wouldn't the taxes have had to have been paid in Austria?
I don't even think the watch was sold yet.
That's what I'm saying.
So I'm just confused on why they stopped him in the first place.
I have truly no idea. To me, it smells like there was a rat. It sounds like there was a little shifty little son of a that wanted to break Arnold Schwarzenegger's chops. I mean, the watch is literally being sold at auction. Yeah. I mean, again, if this is actually breaking a law and that is actually a thing, then that's fine and you owe your taxes and move on. But this does seem a little insane. I mean, if the watch is his personal property, and he's flying into Germany and then intends on going to Austria to then auction it off for charity or sell it, I don't understand why the German government gets a piece of his personal property flying in.
Maybe he didn't claim it? Remember when you're on, when you're on the flight, and I don't really, but you know what's interesting?
Wouldn't America be charging him a tax if he bought it internationally? I mean, where does he reside? He resides in America.
I thought he was in California still.
That's right. Well, he was the governor, right?
Yeah.
Get to the Choppa.
No.
No. Again, listen, I'm clearly not super educated on, customs fucking tax law. But this just seems a little bit insane to me, right? Like, I completely understand if you go anywhere in the world, you go to Germany and you buy a watch, right? You're getting a VAT discount, right? Because they're incentivizing you to buy it there. Stimulate the economy. I totally get it. And then when you come back to America, you're supposed to declare that watch and then pay taxes to the American government. Yeah. Whether you do that or you don't do that is your business, not mine. God bless you all. But it is unclear to me why a watch that is his personal property
that's where I'm
would
lost.
Be taxed as he comes in. I mean, if I'm going to Italy and I'm wearing a pair of jeans, are they going to tax me? If Michael's wearing expensive jeans, are they going to tax Michael on his jeans? I mean, it
depends on how raw that denim is.
Exactly. Not to mention the guy got totally screwed and he was there for 3 hours because they couldn't figure out.
There was no money in the ATM.
There was no money in the ATM. This poor bastard
Could you imagine? I'd be furious.
Oh my God. I mean, again, anybody would be furious, but particularly someone like Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's an important man, trying to get about with his day. And you've got, kind of pain in the ass, right?
And the question that I was going to ask with that too, I'm just kind of, guessing here, but it's like, I feel like if you or I walked in through an airport in Munich or whatever, and we were, wearing our watches.
Yeah.
I doubt they would say anything. Do you think that they were just busting his balls because he's Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Of course. Maybe the Germans have something against him. I wouldn't even doubt that. Like the same way that the Germans love David Hasselhoff. Maybe they hate.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, maybe they hate Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't know what it is because he's Austrian. I don't know. I have no idea. But this just seems absolutely bizarre.
It's wild.
This seems bizarre. Now, the watch was a unique Audemars Piguet made particularly for Arnold Schwarzenegger. This is not the first time that a celebrity has auctioned off one of their unique watches, their special watches. A couple of years ago, Sylvester Stallone sold off quite a few through auction of his special watches. And this wasn't the only Audemars Piguet that was associated with Arnold Schwarzenegger. There have been many limited edition Royal Oaks Audemars Piguets that are Schwarzenegger watches. One of my favorite is this yellow gold one with the chocolate dial.
Beautiful.
This offshore. It's a really cool watch.
Just looks massive.
It's probably huge. The bracelet is uber thick.
Yeah.
The rumor is that Gerald Genta, when he saw the offshore for the first time, had a panic attack.
Really?
Because they had totally perverted his design. Well, the whole point of the Royal Oak was that it balanced elegance, right, with industrial design.
Yeah.
So if you take away the elegance,
it's just industrial design.
It's just bloated industrial design. So I understand why he'd be upset. I also understand why the offshore makes sense for a lot of people because, they are bulkier and some people are bulkier and they want a bigger, thicker watch. No problem with that at all. But what a ridiculous story.
The one thing that is, I guess, reassuring to kind of read in this is to see that, Schwarzenegger still has a great relationship with AP, a relationship that's gone back to the 90s. And, Schwarzenegger's also in part, I believe, if I'm correct, why AP kind of took off in America.
Yeah, Schwarzenegger was really one of the first celebrity endorsement deals in the watch world. And similar to Sylvester Stallone with Panerai, kind of a similar sort of situation. And it's kind of funny because it was similar era and two really big guys, and action heroes. Tells you a lot about the times we were living in. His partnership with AP has been longstanding, and he's a big fan of the watch brand. I mean, listen, AP had a lot of trouble for many, many years, and yet Arnold Schwarzenegger saw that these watches were worth owning and that one day, probably everyone would see it his way.
Yeah.
And he was right? Because now APs are ridiculous. I mean, there are even offshores that I love. The Diver, I think, is great. There are other offshores that I love. I mean, which... Whoever would have thought you'd be there for that day when that would happen, There were days, like we recently learned, that the Jumbo was almost discontinued. You know, I mean, so much of the AP history has recently been told by its former CEO, and it's just been really cool. I mean, we actually talked about it on a full episode of The Zero pretty recently. Sam and I sat down and discussed really our thoughts ad nauseum on Audemars Piguet and the interview that the former CEO did with Ben Clymer, for better and for worse, both on a strategy level and then a history level. And there were so many things that we learned from that video. If you'd like to watch that video, go ahead and subscribe to our channel over at The Zero. Link is down below. It's a Patreon, so it's not free, but you can do a 7-day free trial. And if you don't like it, cancel. And if you do like it, you can, find peace in the fact that while it's $10 a month, we give you $100 in credit every year toward the Theo and Harris strap shop. So you're essentially buying a strap a year, and it's any strap of your choice, and they're beautiful. So we're really not charged. We're charging, but we're really not charging. We're trying to build a big, beautiful community over there. We've got hundreds of members, and we do community posts every week, and I think you're really going to love it.
Now, Audemars Piguet is a super collectible brand, and look how far they've come.
It's amazing. I mean, you go back to the brand's, popularity in the 70s and into the 80s, but then their drop-off in the 90s and the 2000s, and how they got forward, and now, again, they've exploded. It's just crazy to see the journey of Audemars Piguet, particularly as it pertains to auctions, like we saw here with Arnold Schwarzenegger's, right? This is an auction. These watches, no one really ever saw it coming, how collectible, how expensive they would be, right? Rare and collectible Audemars Piguet could easily exceed $100,000, $200,000, $300,000. I mean, these things can just become unbelievably expensive. $500,000, $1 million, unattainable things, right? Investments that we sure as hell would have loved to have gotten in on, right? I remember, when you can get an A series for $50,000, and now, they're double that when they're good, even more, right? But because they're out of reach, you can't ride that wave, right? Because in the watch watch world, there is no opportunity for, democratized investment like we have in the art world via Masterworks and their incredible platform, right? Masterworks has enabled an entire world of people, now 888,000 individual users, to invest in some of the world's most famous and collectible art, from Picasso, Banksy, Basquiat, the most incredible names. They're enabling a whole world of people, through their offering, which has been built by experts in the art world and in legal and finance and in technology, to ride that wave, to buy a piece of a rare and collectible, a legendary art piece, right? It's an amazing thing. And investment in art is not a new thing. I think for the past 27 years, blue chip contemporary art has outpaced the S&P by 136%, which is just an unbelievable number. But what it was kind of like a secret among the wealthy, right? Masterworks has completely demolished that idea, and they've said, well, we can actually bring this secret public and in turn make investment in art mainstream. And that's exactly what ththey're doing right now. Sotheby's, even through their research, is seeing people, run into the investment world, particularly in that category between $20 and $50 million. I mean, this is kind of unprecedented at the rate at which it's happening. It's like this, this kind of well-kept secret of the wealthy. UBS released a report that 61% of millionaire collectors invest between 5 and 30% of their portfolios in contemporary art, right? I mean, it's an amazing, staggering statistic. Yep. And while last year we saw stocks and real estate in a tumultuous state, the big three art auction houses closed over $17 billion in revenues, which was actually the largest year ever. This market is insane. And Masterworks has exited over $55 million in art sales to over 62,000 investors who weren't experts, and they didn't need to be because they had Masterworks. Offerings at Masterworks sell out in minutes, but you as a subscriber here get to skip the line. So go down to the link in our bio and explore more from our friends over at Masterworks. This whole thing is just insane. I'm not a big government guy. Yeah. So, naturally I'm already pretty disgusted by the story. This seems pretty absurd.
One question I have for you, and it's kind of adjacent related. You've been doing this for 9 years, buying, selling watches, vintage. I'm assuming you've bought internationally before?
No.
Really?
No.
Have you shipped internationally?
Yes.
So I was just curious, is there anything to the viewers out there that might be buying or selling something international? Is there anything that something that's like a 101 that's like, oh, you should actually be cautious of this or do something?
I mean, particularly I'll say on really high value pieces, you have to be very careful. And, a flight is far cheaper than the headaches that you can go through shipment, right? I mean, you're talking about shipping something that of great value in a little cardboard box, thousands of miles. I caution against it. I mean, international trade is difficult. It just is, because every government wants their piece, and it is what it is. But this one just does not. This one just does not make sense to me. I'm not saying that they are incorrect. I'm not saying that. I have no opinion. I have not read the German legal code as it pertains to duties due on arrival on their terroir. I have no idea. But this just does, on its surface, sound absurd. This sounds absolutely absurd.
I'm going to keep on wearing my balls when I travel internationally.
I mean, again,
no one's going to bust my balls about that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, especially if he's owned this watch. I mean,
you have the watch. It's confusing. Is what it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't add up.
The only world in which I could see this making sense is if he had purchased the watch internationally. If he had a German residence, right? If he was a German resident, okay, and he had purchased the watch internationally and had never paid duties on it, I could see a world in which those duties are still owed, and they caught him this time. I could see that. Watches are unimportant to the time. They can't speed, slow, or stop it, and our phones tell it better. But as vessels for memories, they know few rivals. again, this is just absurd. It sounds like a shakedown, and I think that the German government should be, on its surface, embarrassed for this whole thing, particularly because the watch was for charity and was going to be auctioned in a different country. I mean, I don't understand where the allegation of criminality is. I'm failing to understand that.
Yeah.
But they should be embarrassed. And frankly, even if it wasn't for charity, that's still no reason to overreach like that. It just seems crazy.
That's absurd.
Yeah.
I
guess we should all be careful now when traveling with watches. And frankly, on that note, be careful when you travel with watches at all, because if you're not in a familiar place and you're in a large city,
How about in Barcelona?
A friend of ours got his arm cut in Barcelona. Multiple for people that I know, actually, but one, got his arm cut in Barcelona for a rubber band on a rubber strap. I believe it was a Hublot. He almost died. I mean, you take a box cutter and you cut someone's wrist. I mean, vertically.
Yeah.
I mean, that's insane. It's insane that someone could do that. But they don't care. They don't care.
That's why when I travel, I wear something that I don't care about losing.
Yeah, me too. I got to be honest, guys. I hate to say that, because I love wearing my watches and whatever, but I am very, very cautious when traveling with what I'm wearing.
100%.
And I wasn't even thinking about tax reasons because, I, like Arnold Schwarzenegger in this case, is so far as I can see, I'm not committing any tax fraud. So this is insane. This is insane. This is an embarrassment. If you like this episode, go ahead and like it. If you love watches, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. And if you'd like more content from Theo and Harris, far less filtered, by the way, go ahead and subscribe to The Zero down below. Again, if you do subscribe, go ahead and shoot me a DM there. I can't answer all the YouTube comments. It's not possible, but I can answer you over on The Zero. Hope to see you there. The watch on your wrist, unlike your iPad, will mean something to someone one day if it doesn't already. Something that will make them smile, walk a little taller, surely at some point cry, but it will mean something.